Like, what do you think's the best source of just like information out there? Like,
That's a good question.
You know, like let's say you're just like average citizen trying to just get the facts. You know, figure out what's going on. Like, you know, how to live your life, and you know, just looking for what's going on in the world. That it's hard to find something that isn't, you know, that's good.
Yeah.
You know, that, you know, not trying to push some partisan angle, not trying to not sort of doing sloppy reporting and just aiming for the most number of clicks and trying to maximize ad dollars and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're just trying to figure out what's going on. It's like I'm hard pressed to. Where do you go?
I don't know. I don't think there's any pure form. My favorite places are the New York Times and the LA Times, and I don't trust them 100%. You know, because also there's individuals that are writing these stories.
Yeah, exactly.
And that seems to be the problem, is these individual biases and these individual, there's purposely distorted perceptions, and then there's ignorantly reported facts, and there's so many variables, and you got to put everything through this filter of where is this person coming from. Do they have political biases? Do they have social biases?
You know, so it's like you got to put a lot of weight on that. You know, a lot of people died to, you know, win independence for the country and fight for the democracy that we have, and you know, we should treasure that and not give up our liberties too easily. I think I think we probably did that, actually. So,
well, I like what you said when you said that it should be a choice, and that to require people to stay home, require people to not go to work, and to arrest people for trying to make a living. This all seems wrong, and I think
yes.
it's a wrong approach. It's an infantilization of the society. That daddy's going to tell you what to do.
Fundamentally, a violation of the Constitution.
Yes.
Freedom of assembly, and you know, it's just. I mean, I don't think these things stand up in court, really.
They're arresting people for protesting.
Yeah.
Because they're protesting and violating social distancing and these mandates that tell people that they have to stay home.
Yeah, these would definitely not stand up. You know, if the Supreme Court here, I mean, it's obviously a complete violation of rights.
Yeah. And again, this is not in any way disrespecting the people who have died from this disease.
No.
It's certainly a real thing to think of.
It was like, you know, winning against people way bigger and that kind of thing. It was just like, whoa, this is cool.
It was what martial arts were supposed to be when we were kids.
Yeah.
When you saw Bruce Lee fuck up all these big giant guys, like, wow, martial arts allow you to beat someone far bigger and stronger than you.
Right.
Most of the time, that's not real.
Especially if they know martial arts too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no.
Yes, but in the UFC, when Hoist Gracie, off of his back, was strangling Dan Severn with his legs, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This guy's being pinned by this big giant wrestler, and he wraps his legs around his neck and chokes him to the point the guy has to surrender.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, Hoist got beaten up pretty bad in some of those.
He definitely had some rough fights.
But he won.
He won, yeah. He's a legend. But what it showed, and I mean, I'm a huge lover of jiu-jitsu. What it showed is that there is a method for diffusing these situations with technique and knowledge. Yeah. That's a weird one, right? We're terrified of this disease that we're projected could potentially kill 100, if not 200,000 Americans this year. With cigarettes, kill 500,000. And you don't hear a peep out of any politician. There's no one running for Congress that's trying to ban cigarettes. There's no one running for Senate that wants to put some education plan in place that's going to stop cigarettes in their tracks. Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Barbecuing your lungs is just bad news. It's not good. You know, you're turning your lungs into smoked beef is not great. Yeah. But Tylenol also, by the way, also kills a lot of people.
Yeah. What is the number for Tylenol every year?
I'm not sure the exact number, but I believe it until the opioid crisis, I believe Tylenol was the #1 killer of all drugs. Because basically it's if you get drunk and take a lot of Tylenol, acetaminophen, essentially it causes liver failure.
And I think it's, in a lot of ways, it's I don't want to say a misused resource, but it's like giving monkeys guns. They just start they start gunning down things that are in front of them without any realization of what they're doing. They have a rock, they see a window, they throw it. Woo! Look at that! I got Elon mad. Look at that! This guy got mad at me. I fucking took this person down on Twitter. I got this lady fired. Oh, the fucking business is going under because of Twitter wars. It seems like there's something about it that's this newfound thing that I don't want to say abuse, but just I want to say that it's almost like, you know, you hit the button and things blow up. You're like, wow, what else can we blow up? Twitter war zone.
You know, it takes a lot to faze me at this point.
You could develop a thick skin.
Yeah, you can't take it personally. Like,
yeah,
it's just like, you know, it's like if you're fighting a war, and there's like some opposing soldier that shoots at you. It's not like they hate you. They don't even know you.
Do you read it?
War zone.
You do sometimes, though, right? You do read it.
Yeah, I mean, I scroll through the comments. Like I said, as a meme war zone.
Yeah.
I mean, people knife you good on Twitter.
It's something I enjoy about that. There's something about the freedom of expression that comes from all these people that do attack you. It's like, well, if there was no vulnerability whatsoever, they wouldn't attack you. And it's like there's something about these millions and millions of perspectives that you have to appreciate, even if it comes your way, even if the shit storm hits you in the face.
Sure,
you got to appreciate. Wow, how amazing is it that all these people do have the ability to express themselves? I mean, you don't necessarily want to be there when the shit hits you.
Sure, you
might want to get out of the way in anticipation of the shitstorm, but the fact that so many people have the ability to reach out, and I think it's, in a lot of ways, it's I don't want to say a misused resource, but it's like giving monkeys guns.
If you get hit by a bus, go to the hospital and die, and they find that you have COVID, you will be recorded as a COVID death.
Why would they do that, though?
Well, right now, you know, so the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I mean, it's mostly paved with bad intentions, but there's, you know, some good intention paving stones in there too. And the stimulus bill that was intended to help with the hospitals that were being overrun with COVID patients created an incentive to record something as COVID that is difficult to say no to, especially if your hospital is going bankrupt for lack of other patients. So the hospitals are in a bind right now. There's a bunch of hospitals they're furloughing doctors, as you were mentioning. If your hospital's half full, it's hard to make ends meet. So now you've got, like, you know, if I just check this box, I get $8,000. Put them on a ventilator for 5 minutes, I get $39,000. Or I got to fire some doctors. So this is a tough moral quandary. It's like, what you can do? That's the situation we have.
Yeah. It's, if you taught a child from first grade on how to use some new universal language, I mean, essentially like a Rosetta Stone, and something that's done that interprets your thoughts, and you can convey your thoughts with no room for interpretation, with very clear, where you know what a person's saying, and you can tell them what you're saying, and there's no need for noises, no need for mouth noises, no need for
yes.
these sort of accepted ways that we've sort of evolved to make sounds that we all agree. We, through our cultural dictionary, and we agree, or certain, we could bypass all that.
So yeah, I think you would, in principle, be able to communicate very quickly and with far more precision ideas, and language would. That's why we just downloaded the program.
At least for the first few iterations, we'll just be able to use, like, I know that Google has some of their Pixel buds have the ability to interpret languages in real time. And is this because they've decided to forego elective procedures and normal things that people would have to go to the hospital for?
Yes, I mean, and we're not talking about just some of these elective procedures are quite important.
Yes.
Like it's like you have a bad heart.
Gallbladder disease, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and you need a triple bypass. It's like sort of elective, but if you don't get it done in time, you're going to die.
Yeah.
It's
elective's a weird word.
Yeah, elective. It's not like, hey, I want to. It's not like plastic surgery or something. It's like it's more like my hip is. I'm in extreme pain because my hip's blown out or my knee, and I don't want to go to the hospital. I can't go to the hospital to people in extreme pain, people that need a kidney, like people that have like quite serious issues that are choosing not to go out of fear. So I think it's a problem. It's not good.
It seems like the state of public perception is shifting.
It is.
Like people are taking some deep breaths and relaxing, and because of the statistics and essentially across the board, it's being recognized that it's not as fatal as we thought it was.
Yeah.
But will you appreciate it when you're a super nerd, when you're connected to the grid and you have some skull cap in place of the top of your head, and it's interfacing with the international language that the rest of the universe now enjoys communication with people? And we're...
Yeah, sure, I think so. Yeah, I like empires.
I'm just worried. I mean, everyone's always scared of change, but I'm scared of this monumental change where we won't talk anymore. I mean, that thing
we'll
that you
communicate.
just yes, but there's something about the beauty of the crudeness of language, where when it's done eloquently, it's satisfying and it hits us in some sort of a visceral way. Like, that person nailed it. I love that they nailed it. Like that, it's so hard to capture a real thought and convey it in a way, in this articulate way that makes someone excited. Like you read a great quote by a wise person, it makes you excited that their mind figured something out, put the words together in a right way that makes your brain pop. Like, oh yes,
yeah,
yes,
a clever compression of a concept.
Yeah,
and a feeling.
But the fact that a human did it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that it'll be like electronic music?
So I haven't met anyone who wants to delete the limbic system or the cortex. People are quite happy having both. So you can think of this as being like the computer, the AI is like a third layer, a tertiary layer. So that is like that could be symbiotic with the cortex. It would be much smarter than the cortex, but you'd essentially have three layers, and you actually have that right now. Your phone is capable of things, and your computer is capable of things that your brain is definitely not. Storing terabytes of information perfectly, doing incredible calculations that we couldn't even come close to doing. You have that with your computer. It's just like I said, the data rate is slow. The connection is weak.
Why is it so disconcerting, or why does it not give me comfort to think about? Like when I think about a symbiotic connection to AI, I always think of this cold, emotionless sort of thing that we will become. Is that a bad way to look at it?
I don't think that's not correct. That's not how it would be. Like I said, you already are symbiotic with AI or computers.
And I think there is some true objective understanding of the immune system and the ways to boost that immune system. And I really think that information should be distributed in a way, a non-judgmental way. But like, look, this is a way that we can all, like, this is a scientifically proven way that we can boost our immune system, and it might save your life, and it might save the life of your loved ones. And maybe we could teach this to our grandparents and our parents and people that are vulnerable. Vitamin C, heat shock proteins, all these different variables that we know contribute to a stronger immune system.
Yeah, actually, just a thing that is tough. If you like when you as you get older, it's hard to be you tend to put on weight. You know, that's happening with me. You know, like as the older I get, I'm like, damn, it's harder to stay lean. That's for sure. And so actually being overweight is a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a fact. Well, yeah.
The New York hospital said it was the number one factor for severe COVID symptoms was obesity. Do they have social biases? Are they upset because of their own shortcomings, and are they projecting this into the story?
Sure.
It's so hard.
Yeah, I think like maybe just trying to find individual reporters that you think are good and
Yes.
kind of following them as opposed to the publication.
I go with whatever Matt Taibbi says.
Okay.
I trust him more than anybody.
All right.
Matt Taibbi's onto something. He's as far as investigative reporters in particular, the way he reported the savings and loan crisis, the way he reports everything. I just listen to him above most. He's my go-to guy.
All right, I'll check it out.
It's his Rolling Stones articles are amazing. His stuff on the savings and loan crisis. You're just like, what in the fuck?
Sure.
And and he wasn't, he's not an economist by any stretch of the imagination. So he had to really sort of deeply embed himself in that world to try to understand it and to be able to report on it.
Yep.
And with a humorous flair.
Now that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's not that many of them. But that's the thing, right? People, this is the argument they will bring up. Like, you are endangering others. You should stay home for the people that you even if you're fine, even if you know you're going to be okay, there's certain people that will not be okay because of your actions. They might get exposed to this thing that we don't have a vaccine for, we don't have universally accepted treatment for, and that we need to. There's two arguments, right? The one argument is we need to keep going, protect the weak, protect the sick, but let's open up the economy. The other argument is stop placing money over human lives, and let's shelter in place until we come up with some sort of a decision, and let's figure out some way to develop some sort of a universal basic income plan or something like that to feed people during this time where we make this transition.
I think there's a as I said, my opinion is if somebody wants to stay home, they should stay home. And if somebody doesn't want to stay home, they should not be compelled to stay home. That's my opinion.
Do you think
if somebody doesn't like that, well, that's my opinion.
So does it feel strange to have a child while this craziness is going? Does it feel, you've had children before, is this any weirder?
I think it's better being older and having a kid. I appreciate it more. Yeah. Babies are awesome.
They are pretty awesome.
They're awesome. Yeah.
When I didn't have any of my own, I would see other people's kids, and I didn't not like them.
Sure.
But I wasn't drawn to them.
Sure.
But now when I see little people's kids, I'm like, oh, I think of them as like these little love packages.
Yeah, the little love bugs.
Yeah, it's just you think of them differently when you see them come out and then grow and then eventually start talking to you. Like, your whole idea what a baby is very different.
Yeah.
So now as you get older and get to appreciate it as a mature, fully formed adult, it must be really pretty wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful. It's great. But babies are awesome.
They are.
Yeah, that's great. We're already partly partly a cyborg or an AI symbiote, essentially. So especially output, like you're just going with your thumbs, and now the computer can communicate at like 100 terabits. So this is like basically your computer could do do things a million times faster. Or you're at a certain point, it's like the AI is like talking to a tree. So if you can solve the data rate issue and especially output but input too, then you can improve the symbiosis that is already occurring between man and machine.
So you can improve it in when you said you won't have to talk to each other anymore. We used to joke around about that. I've joked around about that a million times on this podcast, that one day in the future there's going to come a time where you can read each other's minds.
Yeah.
And
well,
you'll be able to interface with each other in some sort of a non-verbal, non-physical way where you will transfer data back and forth to each other without having to actually use your mouth.
Yeah,
and make noises. Whereas it becomes like opening up the country is Donald Trump's. It's his goal. It's his, and then anything he does is sort of there's people that are going to oppose it and come up with some reasons why he's wrong, particularly in this climate. Whereas as we're leading up to November, and you know the 2020 elections, do you think that this is a real danger in terms of public's perception that Trump wants to open it up, so they knee jerk oppose it because they oppose Trump?
I think there has been some this has been politicized, you know, in both directions, really. So it's which is not great. Yeah, but like I said, separate and apart from that, I think there's the question of, like, you know, where do civil liberties fit in this picture, you know?
Yeah.
And what can the government make you do? What can they make you not do? And what, you know, what's okay?
Right.
Yeah, I think we went too far.
If you had a race car and you could actually give the race car better handling and more horsepower just from your own focus and effort.
Sure.
That's really what it's like.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. When am I going to be able to...
My kids, I should say, I sent my kids to jiu-jitsu since they were, like, I don't know, 6.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's been a while, yeah.
It's a great thing to learn. It really is.
Seems like a good, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe something like,
Sorry.
I mean, even if you just have someone that holds the pads for you, like you get a workout in and it'd be fun. When am I going to be able to buy one of them roadsters? When's that happening?
Well, I can't, you know, say exactly when, but we got to get it. You know, this COVID thing's kind of thrown us for a loop.
I'm sure.
So, not to blame everything on COVID, but it's, you know, it certainly set us back on progress for, you know, some number of months. The things we got to get done ahead of Roadster are, you know, ramping up Model Y production. That'll be a great car. It is a great car. So it's you know, it doesn't create trauma.
So through this 1-inch diameter device, electrodes be inserted and they will find their way,
like tiny wires, basically.
Tiny wires.
Tiny wires.
And they'll find their way to specific areas of the brain to stimulate?
No, you literally put them where they're supposed to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can insert.
How long will these wires be?
I mean, they usually go in, like, you know, depending on where it is, like, you know, 2 or 3 millimeters.
So they just find the spots.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, then you put the device in, and that gets that replaces the little piece of skull that was taken out, and then you stitch up the hole, and you just have a little scar, and that's it. It's like, just avoid having alcohol and avoid eating at least 2 or 3 hours before going to sleep, and your quality of sleep will improve, and your general health will improve a lot.
For sure.
It's a big deal. A little bit.
Do you have a trainer or anything?
I do, although I haven't seen him for a while. But yeah, especially if I'm out, like, you know, say working on Starship or something in South Texas, and I'm just living in I got a little house there in Boca Chica Village, and I don't have much to do, so, or like I'm working, and then I'll do just lift some weights or something, you know. Maybe I like, I don't. Some people love running. I don't love running. But
what do you like to do exercise-wise?
To totally frank, I wouldn't exercise at all if I could. But if I'd prefer not to exercise. But if I'm going to exercise, and, you know, lift some weights, and then kind of run on the treadmill, and maybe watch a show that, you know, if there's a compelling show that, like, pulls you in.
Right. Yeah,
you know,
that's a
like,
good thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch a good movie or episode
exactly.
of Black Mirror or something like that. It's great.
Man.
If we didn't hunker down, if we didn't shelter in place, if we didn't quarantine ourselves or lock down, do you think that the initial thought was a good idea based on the perception that this was going to be far more deadly than it turned out to be? But the initial thought on this virus, the real fear was that this was going to kill hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people instantaneously in this country. It was going to do it very quickly.
Yeah, I think briefly. But I think if any kind of like sensible examination of what happened in China would lead to the conclusion that that is obviously not going to occur. This virus originated in Wuhan. There's like, I don't know, 100,000 people a day leaving Wuhan. So it went everywhere very fast throughout China, throughout the rest of the world, and the fatality rate was low.
Don't you think, though, it's difficult to appreciate?
So it doesn't create trauma.
So through this 1-inch diameter device, electrodes be inserted, and they will find their way
like tiny wires, basically.
Tiny wires.
Tiny wires.
And they'll find their way to specific areas of the brain to stimulate?
No, you literally put them where they're supposed to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you insert.
How long will these wires be?
I mean, they usually go in like, depending on where it is, like 2 or 3 millimeters.
So they just find the spots.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then then you put the device in, and that gets that replaces the little piece of skull that was taken out, and then you stitch up the hole, and you just have like a little scar, and that's it.